He's a mighty humble bumble. Okay, so let's go on to green energy, and this is something where there's been a lot of misinformation out there, and I don't mean from alternative news sources. I mean from what people, YouTube, Facebook, big tech, consider legitimate news sources. But first, let's lead it with, remember this from our wonderful president?
If Hillary got in, you'd be doing windmills. Wing.
Wing.
If it doesn't blow, you can forget about television for that night. When the wind stops blowing, that's the end of your electric. Let's hurry.
I miss him.
Darling, is the wind blowing today? I'd like to watch television, darling.
Come on.
I love how his first thing is like, if the wind isn't blowing, how will you watch Arsenio Hall take home the gold on Celebrity Apprentice? Right, folks? Wind. I miss him so much.
Wind.
I miss it. You know what? I miss a guy who doesn't give a rat's ass. He says, you can't go out and do that. You have to talk with your thumb like this. And he's like, listen, I'm not going to be presidential. I'm not going to win this thing. What? I won this thing?
Jeb Bush said, you can't insult your way to the White House.
Well.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, really? What's the over-under on me insulting my way to the White House?
Yeah. He's like, Jeb, you're about to fall off the stage. You're so far away.
Oh, Jeb, you're so low energy. I think the odds just changed. Bye-bye. So, something that's not funny, of course, is at least 4 million Texans right now are left without power after the ice storms. They froze about half of the wind turbines. And I know what you're saying, well, it's not, why are you blaming wind turbines? Because half of the wind turbines make up about 23% of Texas's energy. So that's 12% of all energy. And we did the math here. 12%, if you take the population of Texas, that's between 3 and 4 million people.
Yeah,
and that's about the people who've lost power, and then some other people are having the brownouts, which they call rolling blackouts here. So 12% of Texas energy is gone because it's wind energy.
Yeah.
Now, the claim that you see a lot from the left, and this is misinformation, you'll see this all over the Twitter trends, and these tweets are favored, where they say, well, the shortage is actually just because they didn't pay for the cold package, the de-icing package, like in Minnesota.
Yeah. Heated seats
Like
were
it's
not
a
put on.
Windmill Plus.
Yeah.
They didn't get it. So.
Like, oh, we got the wind turbines, or we have to start them like this, and you got one where you have the button that goes like this.
Cold package.
The cold package.
True?
This is what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
They're saying.
Yeah.
And it is a thing. It is a thing.
It is.
But it's incredibly expensive, and it still freezes. It just freezes at
in
slightly lower
Minnesota,
temperature.
you got to pay for the cold package.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
I mean, it's not balmy. What do you mean, Minnesota?
They don't. This isn't designed for this. Now, you guys wouldn't be designed for the kind of heat that we have.
Right,
It's
exactly.
not optimized for that kind of air conditioning with the kind of Texas heat waves that we have. So let me give you some examples here where people say, well, you didn't pay for the cold package. Xcel Energy is the company that largely does the wind turbines in Minnesota. In 2011, they said that the decommissioning of Minnesota's turbines would cost $71 million. Okay, that was to make them capable, I think, until a year 2030 something. And now, because they want help to recover from COVID, they have actually been approved from the regulators, Xcel Energy, $750 million for a wind farm repowering project.
Wow.
So these are repowering. I don't even really know necessarily the difference, but basically they're putting some trim.
They're
going to have a racing
They're
stripe
wrapping it
down
in
each way.
caribou.
And here's the
That's the cold package.
And here's
Keeps it
here's the
warm.
truth, though, too. It still makes up a small percentage of Minnesota's energy. People think like they still use plenty of fossil fuels and natural gas in Minnesota, but they pay a lot more for this wind energy, but they don't rely on it. So I think it's important, if you're going to talk about the efficiency of renewable energy, to look to the country that kind of did it nationwide effectively, that of Germany, which I think is well shit.
Oh, crap.
Well, darn.
Well, let's go to Germany. Let's look at Germany. A lot of people, in 2020, 55% of their energy came from renewables, which is one of the, arguably the most, I think.
That's fantastic,
top
right?
Of all except, no.
Oh.
So the results of that in switching to renewables, when they say renewables, I don't mean nuclear, because you've been afraid because of three things: 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, Fukushima. Well, they went to green energy, renewables, more carbon emissions for Germany as they went to renewables. So even if you care about that, which I don't, I go out and drive an SUV, put it on 4-wheel drive in the middle of summer and spray an aerosol can just because I can, America. It doesn't matter. They still actually have more carbon emissions.
Why is that?
And they have consistent. Well, because it actually, a lot of people don't realize it takes a lot of energy. It's unreliable. And so when it's unreliable, you have to go to other energy sources.
Right.
And something people don't take into account, which we'll continue with, and people don't take into account solar panels that are made of like whatever these rare metals, nickel. you have to mine it. It's like we
Yeah.
have to shut down the coal mines.
Yeah.
Go into that mine and get some nickel for solar panels
Yeah.
that we won't allow you to put in the Mojave Desert. How about you go screw yourself?
Yeah.
And you
it's
make
totally
it, and you
clean.
make it in China, and then you have to take it on a boat,
Yeah.
a huge boat that runs on bunker fuel, etc. And,
Yeah.
and go super slow across the.
Well, it's-
is it the South China Sea, guys? I don't know.
I don't know
somewhere,
my
yeah.
seas.
The Atlantic. I don't know
You
my
should
seas.
know these things.
I'm not up on my seas.
I know that if you go in a lawn chair in the Dead Sea, you're on top of the lawn chair.
I've heard that.
Like
Well,
Jesus walked.
Yeah, I don't know.
So here's
bodies of
the
water or
reason. They have
trees.
decommissioned their nuclear facilities. They have moved them off of the plan, and
I'm
they're
about
trying
to
to
get
there.
there, Gerald.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. He
Gerald.
asked. Sorry.
And by the way, they have brownouts. By the way, they have never-ending brownouts, which is the word of the day. Brownouts.
Yeah, get brownouts.
No,
No.
it's an electrical term.
Not.
It's not.
That was
No.
racist. Use
okay if I say it.
comment, by the way. That's the best thing you can do. Comment. Just comment below. It helps with YouTube algorithms. And the person who uses the word of the day, brownouts, most creatively in a sentence, will get a lock of Gerald's back hair. So,
Whoa.
There's not much there.
there's
There is
plenty there.
Not.
He's a walking billboard for Nair. So brownouts is where they have to plan the brownouts. And here's the funny thing, because they do have blackouts, right? Sometimes they don't have enough energy. And then sometimes because they don't have a grid that can handle the power surges, if there's a lot of sun and it's blowing, they have to sell. Germany has to sell their energy at a net loss, which some might argue defeats the entire purpose of selling anything. Generally
get rid of
speaking,
it?
you want to sell the service or
Yeah.
commodity at a higher price than you
No.
paid for it. I know you're still reeling from the world wars, all of them, but get your stuff together, Jim. Now let's contrast that with France. France, when Germany was doing this transition, 76% of their energy came from nuclear power. Now it's somewhere around the low 70% because, unfortunately, due to international political pressure, they're migrating away from it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the results? We have France, we have Germany, two countries that are relatively comparable in a lot of ways. France actually produces 1/10 of the carbon emissions of Germany at half the price.
Some would say that's better.
So wind, solar, nuclear, half the carbon emissions. No, sorry, 1/10 of the carbon emissions
Yeah.
at half the price.
That is insane.
Yet people don't realize this because they're afraid of nuclear. They go, well, what about? Well, first off, there was Hiroshima. There was not Hiroshima. That was a bomb.
no.
That was a- that was-
Fukushima, there was Fukushima,
3 Mile.
Chernobyl, and 3 Mile Island.
Chernobyl,
And people don't realize with Fukushima that was a tsunami. That wasn't so. A lot of
Right.
people, very few people, it can be argued, no people died from like radiation. They died because the tsunami destroyed the facilities, and then a lot of people got trapped in there. And of course, they didn't take
Yeah.
the proper precautions. So if you actually look at the numbers, this is something people have been made afraid of: nuclear energy. Let me explain a few things for you. Also, by the way, something important to keep in mind, more people die. While we're talking about carbon emissions, I don't really care about it, but nuclear does have no carbon emissions. People die from extreme cold far more than they do by an increase of 1.6 degrees Celsius. I don't give a rat's ass about the tiger shark. Screw them, we'll replace them with seals. Here's my case for nuclear before we go. A lot of people don't realize this. You've been made to be afraid of it because a lot of people talk about, big oil. Well, actually, there's a huge green energy racket right now in this country. And you look at because right now there's an incentive to subsidize. And I don't mean tax breaks. I mean actually subsidize green energy companies. You can see to the tune of many, 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 many billions. If you want to see people who make green energy work well in the price, let me give you this. If 10 years ago, Okay, first off, let me ask this. Not a trick question. Who would you say in the private sector is the greatest innovator as far as green energy or technology?
Tesla.
Right,
Tesla,
Elon
for
Musk.
sure, yeah.
Okay, Elon Musk. If I were to tell you 10, 12 years ago, okay, look, 10, 12 years from now, you're going to have electric cars, and they're actually going to become really fast and actually relatively affordable. And the guy who is a serious environmentalist who invents it and creates this car, which will be known as a Tesla, will have to leave California and move to Texas because of their stringent green policies and they destroyed his business. Yes. The man who will invent the electric car, as you know it, will have to leave California angrily to set up shop in Texas. This is not the plot for Ferngully 4. It's a man named Elon Musk. You'll learn about him. They would have locked me away, put me in a straitjacket.
Yeah. There's no way. It would have been California where they all would go.
Elon Musk is leaving California. That's all you need to know. So, but I'll give you more. Nuclear has the fewest amount of deaths per kilowatt hour, right? That's how they measure the safety of technology. Fewest amount of deaths per kilowatt hour. It's far more reliable. It's cleaner than coal and gas. Creates a fraction of the waste, by the way. Very little waste. You could fit all of your waste from your lifetime from nuclear energy under this desk. And zero carbon emissions. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're saying.
Wow.
Maybe some carbon emissions?
No, zero.
No.
It creates warm water.
Right.
Warm
It
water.
recycles steam energy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And apparently near nuclear reactors, wildlife thrives. They found, I think in the Chernobyl, like where Chernobyl is, they found giant wolves, like huge wolves.
We don't want that.
I mean, their thyroid's not going to last forever. But
No.
listen, we all have our cross to bear.
Better to be big and die young is what I always say.
It's they're called the goiter wolves. That's
They do have goiters.
That's the scientific nomenclature. Actually, I should give you the fair shake. You could fit your entire lifetime's worth of nuclear energy waste in a Coke can under this desk. At that point, the desk it doesn't even matter. I can just
Doesn't
put it on
matter
the
if
desk.
it's under the desk,
Say, what's
yeah.
that? That's my nuclear waste.
And by the way, it's not regulation. It's essentially innovation that's getting us,
Of course.
more and more energy independent. That's what fracking did, by the way.
Oh, of course.
Got us more energy.
Well, there are
Got
steps
us-
to this process, and that's the thing. They feel like you can just flip the switch and go from something that isn't clean, right? Nobody argues that coal is clean. Nobody argues that oil is the best thing ever. But I will tell you this. Right now, they're using oil-based products to get the ice off of the turbines out there. They're actually a helicopter spraying oil-based products on it. You have to have steps along the way. You can't just shut stuff down and go, we're going to make the transition because we have to. No.
And by the way, do you know what else is a petroleum-based product? This.
Plastic.
And this.
And
Plastics,
everything.
rubbers.
Pretty much.
And this.
Everything around here. Uh-oh. And that.
There we go.
All that. The warmth. Yeah. That's
And-
gas. And
And this, and this.
yeah.
And this. And this.
This could take a while.
Those are a lot. Yeah.
It's going to be a long time here.
All right, guys. And this. I don't know if you can see
thing.
this monitor.
Yeah, the
My
monitor's
sweater's
phone.
cashmere.
And this button.
This-
And this, especially if it has a moisturizer on it.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah. That's
Shit,
true.
you son of a.
And this.
He's coming over here.
It just
This-
that.
gonna come.
And this board.
His hat's
And
polyester.
headphones. And this. Well, that's not really necessary. That's that. So
No.
That's part of my culture, man.
Penguin's gonna choke on this. And this. And this. And this. Hey, we're gonna play bad movie lines for people who are watching here on
Oh.
YouTube, and I'm gonna finish finding everything in the studio that comes from petroleum products. So the best thing you can do is comment,
And
join Mug Club as we take your chat and play bad movie lines. Let's go.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.